everyone, welcome back to
NuhaSal.
And
as is.
Look, he just came back from sleep. He just woke up from sleep. But he just woke up from sleep right now. And so today we're back with another Trevor Noah. We did a Trevor Noah back then, and then they take it down. YouTube take it down because Trevor Noah don't want anyone using his.
So get in quick, guys, because this is probably going to get taken down too.
Yep.
So, but everyone keeps asking for Trevor Noah, so we're going to do one. And see how we go, and then so make sure you get onto this straight away. Yeah, make
sure you watch it before one month. They always take it down.
1 or 2 months.
1 week to 1 month, they always take it down. We'll be sitting here and wait and receive email. Hey, we're gonna take your video down. So So you ready?
Let's do this.
By the way, which one are we doing, babe?
We're doing Between the Seeds, Trevor on growing up in South Africa.
Yeah, so this is our daily show. So they do in between scenes that like he explains stuff. So this is when he is explaining about growing up in South Africa. Yeah,
and we thought since we've got a lot of South African fans, this is the one to do.
Yep.
So I hope you guys enjoy, and please let us know what else you want us to watch.
Yep, you guys ready?
Let's do it.
Let's go. Let me put the camera this way. All right. And as this is up.
Boom.
He's like, you guys are too loud. All right, let's go.
Good.
You know, we're watching this story about the Toy Hall of Fame, which is in Rochester. And we're seeing like all the toys that are being inducted. And so everyone in the office starts talking about their favorite toys growing up, right? So some people are like, oh yeah, no, for me it was Chutes and Ladders, and for me it was the sled, and for me it was this, was that. And then the people are like, what was your favorite toy growing up? And I was like, genuinely, my favorite toy growing up was a brick, right? Which sounds crazy. But, Spinny, why do you walk away like I'm a crazy... Like you literally walk away like I'm saying the wildest thing. No, because so what happened was, we had, when we were growing up, like I'd live at my grand's house in Soweto, and then what would happen is a lot of kids didn't have toys, but it wasn't like a sad thing, like, oh, I don't have toys. It was just like we play with whatever we find. And so the most popular thing little boys would play with was bricks, and your brick was, you'd play with it like a toy car. So you'd like walk around the neighborhood searching for the best brick, right? Because the game you would play, we didn't put wheels on it or anything. Like someone asked me that in the office, like, you put wheels on it? No, there's no wheels. Where are we going to find wheels? If we have wheels, we wouldn't have these problems. So we just took bricks. So you would find bricks, and then the game you'd play is you'd like drive around in the dirt with your brick car, and then you would smash into the other boys' bricks. And then if your brick was the last brick standing, you won the game. So like all of us, it was like a mission. You're like, man, I gotta find bricks. You just like walk around the whole day just like searching for bricks. And there was this one brick that we had called a face brick, right? Which is basically like a really beautiful brick that you can, bricks that you don't plaster over? You can just have that as the face of your house. That's what we call the face brick, right? And so that was like the dream brick. It was the most expensive brick though. Like you could find everyone with like gray bricks and like the dark black bricks and like all those, but those bricks break. You come with a face brick, someone would like, everyone would see you, like you'd pitch up, you'd be like a pimp rolling up in a Rolls Royce Phantom. Like I remember like one day I found the face brick, and like I got there with like all the other kids are like, meh, mom, meh, and I like got there like all swagged. And then like, oh Trevor, are you playing? And then I was like, yeah, and I pulled my brick out from behind my back. And they're like, oh, face brick. And then it's like, yeah, it's really face brick, and it's like, let's go. And then you drive, and then like everyone rams in, and I'll be like, you guys ram me first. I'll just chill. And everyone tries to ram your brick, and because the face brick, it's like compact, it doesn't crack, and like everyone's bricks crack in half. People are devastated. Like you see, like kids smash their brick, and the brick cracks dead in the middle, and they're like, brick, I missed. It's like a big thing. And then you'd like play, and you take the brick, and it was such a popular thing that you had to be careful if you lived in the townships, because kids would steal bricks from outside your house if you were doing renovations. So if you weren't careful, you would have like all your bricks outside because you're like, oh, I'm gonna build a wall. Yeah. And then like the next day you would come there and you'd be like, where the fuck are my bricks? And like all the bricks are gone. And then it's just like kids driving around like, It's like, are those my bricks? I don't know what you're talking about, man. This is my favorite toy. It just makes you realize like you can just have fun with anything, man. It's like, that's genuinely my favorite. Even now when I see
When you were growing up too, you used to talk about how you made your own little cars and stuff.
Yeah, you know, it's true. We make cars from bottles, you know, what is it called? Which bottles? Coca-Cola bottles and Fanta bottles.
Yeah.
So we take them at the where you drink the lid of it. We put a stick in there, like straight stick, and then so at the other side of the bottle we put holes in there, and we put another tiny stick, and we take slippers. You know slippers?
Yeah.
So what we did do was we take a slippers and take say a tin of, you know, the tomato tin and the open one. We put it on fire when it's hot, and then we put it on that slippers. You know, slippers is all plastic,
Yeah.
and it makes a round kind of like a wheel. And then when you take that round bit, and we put a hole in there and put it on the bottles, it has a wheel, two on each side, and we hold the sticks and roll it, and it has a rolling thing. That was my favorite toy when I was young.
Yeah, because I'm like, now that we've got a baby, I was always shocked at all the toys we get. Yeah, because he's like, well, I just made mine.
Aziz, my kid has a lot of toys. Like I didn't have all that back in the day, and he's true. He's right. We used to roll it on the dirt and water. When it rained, the water that started, we used to roll it on them and that. Yeah, and I know that we have malaria.
Oh, really? Oh, no.
Yeah, because we're in the water, you know, in that water, in that, yeah, so yeah. Yeah, growing up, oh man, it's crazy, man. I miss those days. I miss them. I wish I could take my son there and show him all that.
Oh, we will one day. We're going.
Yeah, definitely gonna take him and experience that stuff. Oh man, the mud, because you know, little bit of mud and jams is good for you.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah,
a little bit of all that dirt is good.
Yeah,
for you. It's
like
good
they
for
say in the West that we do too much. What's called sterilizing.
Yeah,
that's why our kids are allergic to everything.
Allergic to everything, exactly. Yeah. Oh man, well, that's crazy. Yeah. The bricks and stuff. Yeah. So yeah, if you're young, like we go to construction sites when people are building their houses, we look for everything that you can play with.
Yeah, I can
like even wheel, you know the car wheel.
Yeah.
We take two sticks, like long ones, and we take another tin, like tomato tin, but this one should be a little bit bigger, and then we take the two tins, put it on this side of the wheel and this side of the wheel, and put that tin inside, and we roll the car wheels. We roll them. It's become a car. And you hold it like this on both sides and roll it. And roll it. It spins and it goes. So many things. So many.
Now when I see bricks, I get like I said to friends, that's the one thing I don't like about living in New York. You don't see bricks often, like just loose bricks hanging around. You take that for granted. I walk around and I'm like, man, no bricks. And if I see a brick, there's a thing in me still till this day that wants to take the brick. And I have to stop myself and be like, you're the host of The Daily Show. You can buy all the bricks you want. And it's like, yeah, but take that brick, Trevor. Come on, you know you want to. And I always think, imagine if TMZ caught me on camera. And it's like, Trevor Noah spotted stealing a brick. And then I'd be trying to explain it. No, it's a car. No, it's not. Is Trevor Noah on drugs? No, wait. It's so strong. What were you doing, Trevor? I was going to build my own wall. That's what you should let Donald Trump build the wall and then just bring like all the South African kids overnight. And they'll just like take it. So in my grandmother's house, we didn't have a tap in the house. We had one tap shared amongst 4 houses. And that seemed like cool compared to my cousins because in the villages, they had one tap which was like a mile away. Yeah. So I'd go to my cousins to visit them for the holidays, and then I would my cousin would wake me up at like 5 a.m. I'll be like, dude, what are you doing? He's like, we gotta go get water. And I'm like, what? And then you get the wheelbarrow, and then you go, and it's fun when you're on the way there, because you're like, this is fun. You got your wheelbarrow, you're rolling, and then you fill them, you forget that you have to fill them up with water. It's these giant drums of water, and then you bring them back, and you're like, fuck. Like the whole time, you're just like, I don't need water. And like one day, because my cousin was shredded, like just because of that. Every single day was him just lifting a barrel, which is like 400 pounds on a wheelbarrow, just pushing that every single day. And then one day I remember I was like, I can do this. And I took it, and then I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. And then all the water gone. Just like all of it. Yeah, and then I was like, well, well, you shouldn't have let me take the wheelbarrow. I just pulled a Ben Carson. I was like, that was your bad. Did I know my life would turn out like this since I was a kid? Yeah. Yeah, I remember when I was like 4 years old, and then there was like this little kid who like pushed me to the ground, and then I was like, ha, one day I'm gonna be hosting a Daily Show. No, I get what you're saying, and I'm joking, obviously. I'm being facetious. No, I had no clue. Nor did I wish for that. I'll be honest with you. I still joke with my mom about that till this day. I go, I did not know where life would take me or how life would end up. All I knew is that I wanted to be able to afford to buy as much food as I wanted to buy, like at any time. That was like the big thing in my life. Because like when you don't have money in a family, like the food decision is the biggest decision you can make. So like, let me put it this way, we would go out for like takeout maybe once a month.
But I think that makes people appreciate stuff more. I feel that's how I feel. I feel like, you know, growing up here, we've always, like, growing up in Australia, I've always had everything.
Yeah.
But since I've been with you, you appreciate everything. I get you a gift or anything, and you're I think it's nicer to be that way too.
Yeah.
Like, it's sad as well, but it makes you, I think your life, everything you get is better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
it's more
true,
positive, I feel.
More
too.
positive, yeah.
I don't know, I just...
you appreciate it because, you know, we don't grow with all that stuff.
Yeah, and I think that...
some of not like all of them, but some of them do.
Yeah.
Some of the families back home can really afford it. They can afford it, but some of the families, like, nah, they can't afford it. It's only when they're grown up they can afford it themselves.
And I think it makes you more responsible too.
Yeah, it makes you more responsible, exactly.
And like a person that's had everything and then they get rich, they go crazy because they're like, they don't think, they've never been poor or never struggled.
They never struggled,
Yeah, but anyway, I just wanted to say that. I think that's,
Nah, it's true, it's true. Let's go.
We're lucky. And I remember the pressure that I was under, because you get the menu, and then they'd be like, do you want a burger? Or do you want pizza? Or, and I was just like, don't mess this up. It was such a big decision. And I remember one day I said to my mom, I was like, one day I'm gonna be rich enough to buy 2. And then my mom could have been like, shut up, kid. But she was like, yeah, you will be rich enough. Yeah. And I was like, and I'll buy dessert. She's like, you go buy all the dessert. All of the dessert. And so then now my mom was like, did you buy the dessert? And then she pointed at my tummy. She's like, looks like you bought the dessert. In Africa. Like, so my mom, she would let me watch like a sex scene in a movie. She would be like, I don't care about that. But if kids were playing with food, she'd make me turn the movie off. So whenever there's like, I used to watch those high school movies, those American movies, and then there'd always be a food fight in the cafeteria, then my mom would be like, turn it off. And then I'll be like, what do you mean? She's like, why are they wasting food? Then I was like, it's a movie. She's like, but it's real food. It's real food. How can you waste food like that? And then I was like, it's like my mom was going, like parents would go, their children starving. My mom was like, we're starving in Africa. We're starving. Why are they wasting food? The first time I remember hearing a joke as a child was actually, I was with my grandfather, and we were at a protest in the streets in South Africa, and I don't know what the protest was for. I'm assuming it was anti-apartheid or whatever, but I was very young, and I was with my grandfather, and we were marching through the streets, and a policeman came by on a horse. And like policemen on horses is like you like no one is comfortable. Do you know what I mean? Like just generally as black people, we're never like, yay, yay, he's gonna do the thing. No, you were terrified. Policeman on the horse, and this guy was like trying to move the crowd along. And he's like, move, bloody hell, move. And he got to my grandfather, and then my grandfather turned to him, and the guy looked at him, he's like, hey, why aren't you moving? And my grandfather turned to him, and he said, Master, can I ask you a question? And this guy was like, what? What did you say? He said, can I ask you a question, master? And he was like, and then he asked him a question, and to give you the context, that weekend, the previous weekend, there was our version of the Kentucky Derby took place. And then the winning horse was celebrated, and the president went and gave a kiss to the horse that won. A kiss, and it was like on the front page of the newspaper, the president kissing the horse. And so that's the context. So my grandfather turns to the cop and he's like, can I ask you a question? And the cop is like, what do you want? And he says, master, why is it that your president can kiss a horse, but he won't kiss my sister? And like you could see the cop was just like, he's like, what? And he's like, what? I don't know. And I was like, and then my grandfather turned to him and he's like, because you haven't seen my sister. And I'll never forget the policeman's face, like he burst into tears, laughed, because he was like, what? And then he just started laughing, and my grandfather was laughing, and I'd never seen, two things, I had never seen like a policeman laughing with black people ever before. It was my first time seeing that, and it was just my first time seeing like how a joke could diffuse tension, how, you know what I mean? And then I just remember growing up, I was like, oh, I want to do that thing. I want to do that thing more. Diapers, I hate changing diapers. I don't have kids. I just hate changing diapers. I have two younger brothers, so I changed their diapers when I was growing up. And then at some point with my youngest brother, who's 20 years younger than me, I was just like, you're gonna keep shitting, so just don't wear pants. And I was like, it's easier to poop or scoop this person than it is. Like, so then my little brother would just come, I'd teach him. The thing was he'd just come running up to me and then he'd be like, Trevor, poo poo. And then I'd be like, all right, and then we just run outside and then I'd make him shit in the garden. Like I would like fold him. I'd hold his legs and his body, and then like I'd hold him like this, and then he'd be like a little turtle in my hands. And then I would hold him, and then he would shit, and then he'd be like, doo-doos, doo-doos. And I'd be like, finish. Then he's like, doo-doos. Then I'm like, all right, cool. And I'd shake him a little bit. And then I'd take him. Yeah, and then I'd take him and he'd stand and then I would spray him down with a hose pipe. So take him, and he loved it. He was like, this is the greatest experience ever. And then I'd be like, just don't tell mom what we're doing. And then he'd always tell mom. He'd always be like, mommy, Trevor sprayed it to me with the hose pipe. Then I'm like, Jesus, kid, you're killing me here. He would love it. It was like a fun. And then I remember like one of the funniest things was like a year or something later, we're sitting together watching TV, and we're watching footage of police spraying people with like protesters with water hoses. And then he looks at me, he's like, Trevor, did they do-doos? Then I'm like, no. So in my family, my two younger brothers are so from my mother's second marriage, and so I'm still the only person in my family who looks like this. So my mom is African woman, black Xhosa woman. My father's Swiss from Switzerland, so he was a white man, and so I look like this. And then my mom remarried a black man, so my brothers don't look like me either, right? And I remember what was really beautiful was my brothers. We always spoke about this stuff. So my parents, they were like, yeah, different dads. We get how this works. So my brother one day, I pick him up from school, right? He's really young at the time. It was what, maybe like, I think it was 9, maybe 10 years old. And he gets in the car and he's just deflated. He gets in the passenger seat and he fastens his seatbelt. And I'm like, what's going on, Isaac? And he's like, hey, Trevor. He's like, oh, kids, man. I can't do this, kids. So I go, oh, kids? Tell me more. And then he's like, I just don't know what to do with kids, Trevor. You know, like today, one of my friends said, ooh, are we walking home? Then I said, no, my brother's picking me up. Then he said, who's your brother? Then I said, Trevor. Then now when we're walking, he sees you in the car. Then he says, who's that? Then I said, it's my brother. Then he says, but how can your brother be white? Then I said, he's not white. He's not white, he's mixed. Then he said, but you're not mixed, you don't look the same. How can your brother not look the same? Then, so now I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna have to like go through this. So then I'm like, so what did you say to him? And he's like, Trevor, like I have to explain it the way kids understand. He said, I just said to him, I said, Zweli, you've got to understand, like people are like chocolates, okay? Like you can have like a white chocolate, and you can have a dark chocolate, and you can have a milk chocolate, but it's all Nestle, okay?
So what?
It's
Any
all
questions?
Nestle. That's the brand.
Oh, that's the brand. Oh, that's the brand of the chocolate.
House? Oh, House Foofy. Wow, that's a deep cut. Man. You can't just ask me that like just random. You gotta be like, hey Trevor, so I read in your book, and you can't just be like House Foofy, because my mind went, who the hell Foofy? No, because Foofy died. So for those who don't, so I had a dog when I was growing up. Like one of the dogs we had, my mom was working at a pharmaceutical company, and her colleague came to work one day and was like, hey, my neighbor's dog impregnated my dog, so now I have all these puppies I don't want, and they're like this weird mix of like a Bull Terrier and a Maltese Poodle. So do you want to take them? And the mom was like, all right, I'll take 2. And then my mom brought them home, and I'd never had a dog before, and I was like, this is the most amazing thing in the world. And so we raised them, and it was 2 beautiful dogs. They look completely different, but they were sisters. They were the best, Fufi and Panther. And my mom called the one Panther because she had a pink nose, so the Pink Panther. And then, and Fufi was like the dumbest, most beautiful dog ever. And Panther was the smartest, ugliest dog you've ever seen. And so like I loved Fufi the most because she just like looked really vicious. And I used to think that Fufi was really stupid. And then one day what happened was, like at our house, somebody was trying to like come into the house, like a family friend, and they were trying to open the gate. Yeah. And then they moved the gate, and then the gate fell. And then Panther ran away because they like to sleep by the gate, and then Panther ran, but then Fufi didn't. And then the gate hit her, and then like it broke her spine. It was devastating. So then we went to the vet, and then like the vet was like, I can't help her, you know, we got to put it down, put her out of her misery. And the vet was like, but this was amazing. How did you guys raise a deaf dog? And we were like, what? And he was like, we were like, what do you mean a deaf dog? And he was like, oh, like afterwards, like when I was just going through examining her while she was still living, I realized that like, she wasn't born with, I guess, a certain part of the cochlea or something. And we were like, wait, this dog was deaf the whole time? And we just genuinely, I'd literally just be like, Fufi, sit! Listen to me! Sit, Fufi! And I was like, you're so dumb! You're so dumb! And I never knew that the dog, and then we realized, what used to happen was, when we'd call the dogs, we'd be like, Fufi, Panther, and Fufi would never come, but Panther would come running sometimes, and then she'd like look at you, and then she'd run back, and then they would both come. And I always used to be like, Fufi's just dumb. And then I realized Panther was like, she didn't hear, and then she'd go back and fetch her. And then both of them would come. And then like now I went back and my was like, Fufi, Fufi, I miss you, Fufi.
Oh man.
So that's how Fufi's doing. She's yeah. What happened to Teddy from my book? What's funny is randomly one day I was driving to a car dealership. I had bought an Audi, and I went to the car dealership because I needed them to help me with something. And then they said, we'll call our top mechanic. And just to give you a bit of a backstory, Teddy was my best friend in primary school, and him and I used to go shoplifting together. And then one day, like, we were like busted shoplifting, and then we ran away, and then they caught Teddy, but then they didn't catch me. And then they had security footage of what happened, and they went to all the schools in the area looking for who was shoplifting with Teddy. And then they didn't know it was me because the security camera was black and white. It was like the old school black and white cameras. And so they were like, we're looking for a white kid, because on the camera, it just in black and white, the camera shows white. So then at the school, they asked me, they were like, Trevor, come in here. They're like, you're friends with Teddy? I was like, uh-huh. And they're like, well, Teddy was caught shoplifting. I was like, uh-huh. They're like, there was someone with him. I was like, uh-huh. They're like, it was a white kid. Who was he? I was like, huh? And then they just never caught me. And then Teddy never snitched or anything. And he got expelled from the school. And then I thought like he went to jail or something. So, and I never knew where he ended up in life. 10 years later, maybe even more, I had an Audi, drove to an Audi dealership because they wanted to help me with something, and I pulled in and I said, can you help me? They said, oh, this is complicated, let's call our top technician, mechanic. And then they called the guy, and they're like, Theo, come out. And then he came out, and then it was Teddy, and I was like, Teddy! 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 And it was, yeah. That's what happened to Teddy. All right, let's do this. I was and he was just like, what are you crying about? I was like, I'm so happy. It's like, dude, we're stealing chocolate bars. Why would you think I go to other? You went to jail for life. It's funny, in South Africa we have a saying, and you must remember, because of so many of the struggle leaders in South Africa were either imprisoned or exiled, the movement in South Africa was held together in large part by women in the country. And so it's weird for me because I understand you travel the world, you understand that everywhere feminism is different and the idea of women is different. But I grew up in a world that was very matriarchal and where women were the most dangerous freedom fighters that existed. No, this is true. You read up on Winnie Mandela. Like, Nelson Mandela was an icon, but the police in the country were afraid of Winnie Mandela. You know, they were, and we had a phrase in South Africa that was, we still use it today, which was "Watinta bafazi, watinta mbokoko," which means you strike a woman, you strike a rock. And that's what I grew up learning. It was kudos, man. It was fire. It was fire. And a lot of the time my mom would strike me with a rock. And
oh man, that was good, man. That was, but the dog one was sad, man. The dog one was sad. I remember when my uncle has to put my dog down. When I was young too, man, his name was Fankanta. Fankanta means to look after yourself, like secure yourself. Honestly, the dog, man. Oh man, my dog, but because he gets sick and he got all the man, and then they have to put him down. I remember my uncle did some tricks, say, oh no, the vet is gonna come look after him. And I know the vet, it's just our neighbor not too far from him, but he's a vet, everybody knows him as a vet. So he called him, I thought he was just gonna give him injection and just all that, and no, they gonna put him down. But that day I started crying. Yeah, I grew up in it's called Nyambai, Brikama Nyambai is my area. A lot of them, they know me with that dog, man. Oh man. Crazy, man. They have to put it down. I know a lot of Ghanaians that will be watching this video would know what I'm talking about where I grew up. Man, crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, I used to have a cat, and then I remember when my cat left.
Yeah.
So they don't die in front of you. When they're ready to die, they disappear.
Yeah?
So I never saw it again.
Oh, so he disappeared?
He just disappeared after I had the cat for 19 years.
Oh, man.
And then one day she did to come home. Yeah.
Oh, was he old or?
She was old. Well, 19's pretty old. Yeah, really sad. Yeah. So pets.
Was he really hit by a car somewhere?
I have no idea. I never saw it again.
Yeah?
Never saw it again. Didn't find the body anywhere or nothing.
No, you didn't find the body in the neighborhood or anything?
But that was years ago. But she always came home. Always. So, yeah.
Crazy.
Sad when you lose a pet. Yeah. And I really enjoyed that.
That was crazy.
And I think you were reminiscing, were you? You think it reminded me of sort of stories you told me since we've been together. Your childhood. And guys, if you liked that episode, and if you liked or you would like to know about Noah's childhood, write a comment down below, because we can always do a video and Noah can talk about what it was like growing up in the Gambia. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and
see you guys in the next one. I know you guys like our new setup.
Yes, we're in the study, guys, and Noah's been wanting to do our videos here forever, and finally here we are. And let us know what you think we should put in our background and stuff like that.
Yeah, this wall right here
to make this better, or how we should have our camera or anything like that. We
anything
love
like that.
that.
Yep.
And
see you guys next time.